Do you think I've heard some rumors? Do you think there's going to be a Spider-Man cameo
I
in
think
this?
there might be a Tom Holland
Do you think
cameo,
so?
but I don't know if there's going to be a Spider-Man cameo.
Oh. Hey heroes, welcome in. We are your hosts for hire. I am Lucas Rand. This here is Kyle Cage. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about our excitement for Daredevil coming up March 4th. The importance, we think, of post-credit scenes. We're going to get into some spilled milk, some questions from Colin. So stick around to the end and hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, make sure to head over to Hosts4Hire podcast on all socials. That's Hosts4Hire with the number 4 podcast. We're trying to hit 10K on YouTube, so help push us
Yes, please.
there.
Please, please,
Yeah.
please.
So first, right off the bat, we wanted to talk a little bit about post-credit scenes. This came up because of Captain America: Brave New World. Go check out that episode. We talk at length about why the post-credit scene in that was felt a little
Lacking.
lackluster.
Hmm.
And it got us thinking about how important they used to be, especially within the MCU.
And how
And
not important they have been in the last few movies. I like in the last few movies they've almost been like used as like a little joke or like, like a just like a nothing scene like
which
Brave New
which
World where we got no new information out of that
Which
other than
ironically is kind of how post-credit scenes have been used for a majority of times, in that like they, do you remember in the early 2000s, if you guys remember that they'd have bloopers in
right,
during the end
like
credit
Rush
reels.
Hour
And
and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, which was
Yeah.
great, but it feels like that's kind of the direction they're going in, where it's like not so serious. They
Yeah, well
don't
like
want to
early
be
MCU
flaky.
though, like they were like extremely um like foreshadowing stuff
Hmm.
is what they
Like
were.
for the
Like
first Iron Man was
right,
in my
setting up
opinion, one of the most important
Avengers,
ones.
right?
Yeah.
The first few were setting up the Avengers. Actually, one of my favorite scene post credit scenes is from Cap First Avenger, where Cap is like beating on that like punching bag, and like Nick Fury comes up behind him. He's like, "Oh, you have trouble sleeping? Like I have an Avengers idea." And like
Hmm.
like in Thor, like they set up like or in Iron Man 2, I think they set up Thor coming. Like
Yep.
they're just like
Yeah,
a lot
Coulson
of them.
finds the Mjolnir. Yeah.
Hmm. Uh, where they're
All the
like,
way up to like Age of Ultron even, where they do the big reveal, which personally that is for me it's between Iron Man and Age of Ultron, especially for MCU specific
your
post-credit
favorite.
scenes.
For which one is your favorite?
Yeah, for which one's my favorite and what like how
What was
it
the
got me
Age of
excited.
Ultron one? Why can't I
The Age
remember?
of Ultron one was fine, I'll do it myself, and the reveal
Oh,
of
right,
Thanos. I
Thanos.
remember
That's
seeing that in theaters and losing my shit. I was living in Madison at the time, and I actually went and saw that movie by myself. And I literally stood up and yelled in the movie theaters. I wasn't the only one yelling, but
no,
I
no,
was there by myself yelling like a fool. But I remember that one was exciting because the whole theater erupted. No one expected to see Thanos that
nice,
early. No
nice.
one saw it coming. That's like the
That's a
thing
good
that
one.
post
That's a
credit
good one.
scenes can, yeah, that's the things that they can do, and what they need to be used for better is to get people that excited for something that didn't come for several movies even after that.
Right. Well, like it's like we were talking about in the last few. It seems like we're either just getting like jokes or like in this last one, like I really almost can't understand what their thought process was. If they were just trying to show us that like leader is still around and he's gonna like be back, but like all they really like sh- told us was that Secret Wars is coming. But like we
That
know,
the multiverse is going to collapse,
like,
and it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
like, but
we
like
are all aware.
we know that like everyone in the audience is already aware of that. So like
Yeah.
I really hope to see going forward some better post credit scenes. Like even like in Daredevil. We were talking about like Daredevil
Hmm.
coming up. I'd like to see like maybe like a teasing of like the Defenders or like something like
At
that.
the
Like
end of the last episode,
yeah,
something like
like
that, yeah, that'd be great.
go back to the roots, like you said, like in the first Iron Man where they're teasing Avengers or Age of Ultron where they're teasing Infinity War and uh Endgame. Um,
Setting up that what they used to do is they set up movies and storylines several movies in
Yet to come,
advance.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
with things that haven't been announced. Like, to go along with what you're saying with the leader scene, they were showing us something that we all already know is coming because they announced it. Like, it would
Right.
have had much more impact if Secret Wars hadn't been announced and known about already.
Yeah. Like I
We
guess
would
to
have been
like the
like, "Oh
person
man,
who's
Secret
watching the
Wars."
movie and hasn't been paying attention at all and has no knowledge of comics, like I guess that post credit scene could have like fed you some
But even
information.
then, but even then, it
That's a
wouldn't make any sense
small
because you.
percentage of people, man.
But and even then, like if you don't know anything about it, you wouldn't know about Secret Wars, and it wouldn't make
Right.
any sense anyway.
Yeah,
You'd be
you'd be
like, "Oh
like,
yeah,
okay.
the multiverse exists," because
Yeah.
that's all your base knowledge is of the previous. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get heated up, but I am curious what your like favorite
But my
one
favorite
was.
post
What
credit scene, I was stalling, so I could think of one. Um,
did I take
oh,
yours?
like one of the first ones that came to my mind was that Cap one where he's like beating on that like
Mhm.
punching bag and he like punches it through. I don't know why I really like that. Chris Evans is just so sexy, tight ass white shirt. He's just fucking beating the shit out of that thing. It's great. But I think I'm gonna go with the even sexier when I think it's uh I don't know which post credit scene it is actually, but it's the one where Bucky comes out of Wakanda and they call him and all the kids
Oh, and he's
are
the
running
White
around and
Wolf.
they're like
I
White
want to
Wolf,
say
White
that's the
Wolf,
end of Black Panther. I want to say that's
dude,
the end of the first Black Panther movie.
dude. That is yet to be gratified, and I need it, Kyle.
That's
I
true.
need Bucky in a White Wolf suit. What I remember in the theaters when like the little kids are coming around, they're like White Wolf, White Wolf. I was like, you what?
Like no way.
You what? They're
And
gonna
they
make
well, and
Bucky White Wolf, and they never gratified that shit.
they do reference it, and I want to
In
say it's Falcon and the
Falcon
Winter
and Winter Soldier,
Soldier.
they do.
Yeah, where he's like, "What are you, the White Panther?" He's like, "Actually, it's White Wolf."
Yeah, he's like, what?
That's the only other reference to
Yeah,
it, though.
but dude,
I
like
agree.
the White Wolf suit in the comics is so sick, dude. Like,
Mhm.
why would they call Bucky the White Wolf and not give my man like claws on his arm, or like some form of like White Wolfness to him? I need it.
Yeah.
I need it bad. I hope in Thunderbolts we get another White Wolf reference, and it's gonna like feed me for the next like 10 years.
Yep. Well, let us know what you guys think about post-credit scenes, how you want them
Yeah,
to be going forward, what your favorites were. Let us know in the comments below. We'll maybe talk about why, what we thought about your favorite ones. And I'm also, we wanted to get into, like we were talking about, the Daredevil
yeah.
Born Again series
You
coming out.
guys,
We're
I
going
don't
to
know
just
about
touch
you,
on
but
that.
I am so excited. It has been so long
Hmm.
since we've gotten to see Charlie Cox in his own series as Daredevil again,
Which,
folding it into the
again,
MCU. I'm
We've
so
we've
stoked.
referenced this multiple times, but again, check it out. We did a top casting video.
Mm,
Another honorable mention we didn't mention is Charlie Cox as Daredevil.
such a good
Incredible.
cast, dude. Yes. I hope he gets to play because he made like a comment in an interview about wanting to play Daredevil up until Daredevil gets really old, because Daredevil gets really
When
old in the
there's that,
comics.
he wouldn't have
And
sent the devil.
yeah, yeah. Yes. I hope he gets to just play Daredevil like until he like and
Becomes old man, becomes stick
becomes
essentially.
stick. Yes, dude.
Yeah, this
Yes,
is the stick Matt Murdock. Oh,
yes. I really hope that for him because he is so perfect. I'm so excited to see him. There's so many things that are being introduced in this that I'm excited for. We were just talking about White Wolf, White Tiger is being introduced in this. I'm not sure if we're gonna get um now I'm spacing on her name. Um, the female White Tiger, like the actual White Tiger that isn't. I think it's like Anya.
yeah,
Uh,
Anya, I think.
or something, or if we're gonna see her dad, which is like in the trailer, it looks like a man. So I wonder if
Yeah,
we're gonna get to see like her dad die, pass the mantle on to what we know as
the
the
current
White
White Wolf.
Tiger.
Yeah, or White Tiger.
Um,
Now I'm all mixed up.
but dude, not only White Tiger, but we have Punisher like being quote unquote introduced to the
Yeah.
MCU. Right, we've already
Again,
seen him, but like he's being
John
introduced.
Barenthal, killer
Peak
casting.
casting. That's why I'm
I
so
would say
excited
all of
for
the
this show.
defenders except for Danny Rand, except
Yeah.
for Finn Jones,
Yeah. But in
perfect
this show
cast.
specifically, there is Charlie Cox Daredevil, John Barenthal,
Yep,
is that his last name? Punisher,
yeah.
and then Kingpin, who's
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio, dude. Three just that's why I'm so excited for this show. It's gonna be so peak. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like it's gonna be like Penguin, where it's just got like all these high level people working on it that it just has to be high level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's no way to like there's very little chance of it being bad because of the nature of
Yeah,
the
like
the cast and the people involved.
so like I know Kingpin has also like come up. He was an Echo, but like this also is going to
Mm.
be like kind of like an introduction of Penguin or Penguin of Kingpin.
Now you're all turned around.
No, I'll twist it around. Um, it'll be like Kingpin's introduction to the MCU. Technically, Daredevil's, even though we've seen him fight a few times, it's going to be his
Mhm.
like official reintroduction. Punisher's introduction, White Tiger, Bullseye, Muse, and that's just the ones that we know about.
Yeah, who knows who haven't been announced or leaked, you know?
Like that's
I'm
pretty
sure there's a
exciting, dude.
ton of
I,
cameos.
I am stoked. I'm like worried because if it's bad, it's gonna break my heart.
Yeah. I
I
think I think you're right though that there are going to be a ton of cameos, and my evidence for that is the lack of cameos in Brave New World. I
very
think
interesting.
I think this will feel big, you know, like full. Like there'll be
Yeah.
a lot of stuff going on.
Do you think I've heard some rumors? Do you think there's gonna be a Spider-Man cameo
I
in
think
this?
there might be a Tom Holland
Do you think
cameo,
so?
but I don't know if there's going to be a Spider-Man cameo.
Oh,
I think there might be a
Peter
Tom
Parker
Holland one though, a
cameo.
Peter Parker cameo. So that yeah,
Okay.
because it's just more expensive with the
Well,
suit.
we'll
You
we'll
know what I
we'll have
mean?
it here. If it happens, we'll have called it. You know, you'll have called the Peter Parker one. I think that we might just see Spider-Man, not
Where
Peter.
it won't be
But
Tom
like,
Holland. See,
well,
that's an interesting
like,
thought. Either they pay Tom Holland or they pay to make Spider-Man. You know, because
right,
like
right,
both are kind of
right.
expensive in their own ways. That's
That's an interesting way to
interesting.
look at that. Yeah, I think we'll see him like maybe like off in the distance or like like a quick
Swinging
interaction
around, maybe that'd be
between.
cool to just like see
Yeah,
at the end, even like just to have Daredevil standing on the edge of a building, and in the
yeah. Have
distance you see someone swinging.
dude,
That'd be cool.
I would love that. That would be a sweet post credit scene. Like like just those things that give us that juice as like
Yeah, they make
nerds
you
again.
excited and ready
Because
for the
like
next one.
also just to go back on the post credit thing real quick, it used to be that like not everyone would get it. Like the
Hmm.
Thanos grabbing the Infinity Gauntlet and saying, "Fine, I'll do it myself." We knew that meant that like Thanos is coming. Like
And
characters
what
are
that
gonna die. Like
implicates.
all this
Yeah.
like cool things that implicates. Where like a lot of people didn't. And like nowadays we've kind of lost that. Where like the post credit scenes was like giving like real diehard fans the juice to like make it the 2 years until the next movie. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
And like doing things like hiding certain things, like in the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, for instance,
The
uh
shield.
when the shield, yeah, comes up with the ice, and it shows that that's actually where Steve Rogers was unearthed and uniced, was in
Hmm.
that moment.
Yep.
But it was something that was like a literal flash of a second on the corner of the screen where
Yeah,
it's
and it
just
took
got
some like
sealed.
mega nerd to be like, look.
And it took like 2 years until like Avengers, like the first Avenger was announced. Captain America: The First Avenger was announced, and people were like, "Hang on, is there a reference somewhere?" And someone found it. Like, "Oh yeah, sure as shit, there is one."
Yeah, let's go back to that Marvel. If you guys are listening, if Marvel HQ is one of the 5,000 subscribers, please
we'd
listen
love
to
if you,
us.
we'd love if you take our suggestions into account in your multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Please. All right, but all right, Kyle. Some spilled milk. Let's move
Yeah,
forward. We're going long.
we had a few gripes from a few recent things that we've
Yes,
watched and experienced, and we
yes.
wanted to just kind of cry a little bit over the spilled milk.
I'll start actually because he is him. Quick little shout out was commenting back and forth with me, and I actually got started with this with him. My spilled milk here, and is that I've just recently gotten into Invincible, and I'm watching season 3, like I'm sure so many of you are. And you guys, can you empathize with me here about what the fuck is Mark doing, bruh?
Can
It's
you empathize with the lack of empathy towards the main character of that show right now? He's
dude.
just wrong.
Why are they so like kind of like I was talking with he is him. I understand the dichotomy they're going for, where like Cecil is both right and wrong. Mark is both right and wrong. Like like you know what I mean? Like who's in the right? It's kind of like what's going on. But like Cecil is both right and wrong. Like he's a son of a bitch. We know that, but he's like also in the right when it comes to what Mark is doing. But like
like
Mark isn't in the
morally,
right at all, dude. Like,
yeah, like Cecil is morally gray, but he has the greater good in mind.
and what he's saying
Mark,
to Mark is objectively true. Like
yeah,
he's not sugarcoating shit. He's not like hiding shit from Mark or you know, but like he's telling Mark exactly how it is. Like, hey, dude, you're way too powerful. We are afraid of you. Like, we have nothing to stand up to you or your dad at all.
and
That's
everything that
scary.
you're doing right now is proving the
Is
point
the
that I'm
scary
trying to
shit.
make.
Like, I love that moment when Mark comes in, just like grabs him by the throat, pins him against the wall, like is totally a misunderstanding. He suddenly is
Yep.
like, "Oh shit, sorry, dog." Leaves. He's just like, well, that was a
That
terrifying way to start the morning.
I love that. I love he's just like, well, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, this is a horrible thing I got to deal with right now.
I
What's
guess
next
to
on the
me,
list?
it's just gone a little long. Where Mark,
Mhm.
like, the consequence hasn't come for Mark yet, and like, I would really like to see that happen quickly.
I
Because, like,
think that should have started in the third episode rather
I
than
agree.
still in the
We're in
fifth
episode
episode and
5 now.
not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just something that's been bothering me, man. I'm like, Mark is objectively the villain in this season. Like, and his
Mhm.
friends don't see it because they're like just his friends, and I don't really like that like whole
Or
trope.
in Robot's case, he sees it,
Yeah,
understands that there's nothing they can do to stop it if he does, and needs to and wants to be on the winning
on the
side.
winning side. That's a cool like I do like that. But yeah, it just feels like man, I'm so much more interested in the Nolan and Alan storyline right now in
Mhm.
Invincible because of this whole Mark thing. That like it almost
Yeah.
sucks. Like I'm like so much less interested in the main character than I am in like the side story. Like the side story is like my storyline A, whereas Mark has
No,
fallen
and
to like
I'm in the
storyline
same
B.
boat. Yeah,
You
I'm in
know,
the same boat. Like the recent episode where they did like half the episode of
with Battle
Alan and Nolan
Beast.
breaking out. Yeah, with Battle Beast, dope as hell.
Dude,
But also the coolest part of the season because Mark wasn't anywhere around, which is kind of a
dude.
problem.
Yeah. So
But
last thing I'll say on it is so for in Cecil's mind, this how I see it. Nolan was like the perfect hero, right? Omni Man was like Superman, like he was the perfect superhero, and then bam, one day he just turned and was about to enslave the whole planet. Like if Omni Man wouldn't have felt bad about killing Mark, that's what would have happened. Like Earth would be under Viltrum rule, and like that's what it would be. Like it would be no
Yep.
ifs, ands, or but about it. Like Earth's would be under like new rule. So like Nolan was the perfect hero, and then one day, just boom, in a morning, that whole thing just snapped. Mark has already crossed like 30 lines that Nolan never crossed before going
Yeah,
evil. Like or quote unquote evil before like doing the plan. Like
revealing his
like
true intentions.
right, like
Yeah.
Marvel's crossed or Marvel Mark's crossed so many lines like that Nolan never did. Like already as an 18-year-old. Imagine when like Mark becomes like 1,000 and everyone he loves is dead. Like he's on the exact path to totalitarian ruler of the world. Like that's why I guess
Yep.
to Angstrom Levy's uh like point in most realities, Mark and Nolan rule the world.
Team
Because
up.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
they are Viltrumites who
they're
believe in
totalitarian
Viltrumite rule.
rulers. Like,
Hmm.
it's the exact path Mark is walking. So I'm really hoping that like a big consequence is gonna hit Mark and like really turn
Yeah,
this
to
whole like
shift
shift
his.
around. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but
Um,
I digress.
which
Kyle, hit
which
me
there
with your
is one coming. They've been following the comments well enough where there is one coming. I just don't know when.
right,
I hope
right,
it does seem like it's going to be at the end of season 3, which is unfortunate. Like
right.
it feels
Teasing
like
into
with this
season
season,
4. Right.
they're stretching the story a little too long. Like the show, the full length of the story could have ended after seasons 4, but now with how much they're stretching this, it's probably going to go into season 5 at
5.
least, which like
Which is
is
okay.
fine. But now like we're stretching it a little bit, like to make
Story
more
gets a little
money,
muddy.
and that's
Writing gets a
exactly, and
little.
that's
You know.
where it starts to take a hit.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
you said, moving on. I have a little spilled milk. Something came out this morning, I believe. At
Actually, real
least
quick, you
in the
guys, if you
last day
agree
or
with
two.
anything we were just talking about
Yeah.
Invincible, please let us know in the comments. If you disagree, especially and you understand and you're seeing something I'm not, like in this like dichotomy with Mark, please tell us in the comments. Let's talk about it. Educate us. It's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yes, yes. Also, tiny spoiler warning before we get into further into this. If you haven't seen Invincible, or if you haven't seen Watchmen, the animated shows, which or the animated movies that just
Movies.
released, part 2 just released today. I watched it this morning, and I have a few gripes just with not the content itself, but the idea and purpose.
The why.
So the why. I really love Watchmen. Don't get me wrong. I watched the movie when it came out. Was like,
You're,
man,
you're
that
the
was
biggest Watchmen
awesome.
fan that I know. I'm not huge on Watchmen. It's not like my favorite
Yeah,
thing ever.
read the graphic novel. There's a few things they did with Rorschach in the live action movie that was like a little where they kind of made him more of a protagonist. When in reality he's a evil bastard. Like in
Yeah.
the comics, he is even an evil
I think it was
bastard
just one
through
of
and
those
through.
things where the studio was like, he's the coolest looking one, make him the main character.
Yeah,
You know?
which no, like he is the main character for the most part, but he's not a good guy. like,
Right, right,
like
right,
that's
right,
the
right,
whole
right, right,
point of
right,
it
right.
is that like everyone is pretty morally ambiguous. Everyone in the story. But getting off the track here, my point is that for the most part, that was a pretty faithful shot for shot recreation until the very end when they changed the end. It was the same
Right.
reason
No
they made
squid.
Galactus a cloud. They made no squid because for the same reason Galactus was a cloud. They just didn't believe people were ready for it, and they were probably right. So I get that. I get there being a change there. And then they made the the motion comic on
Oh yeah,
HBO,
that
which
that,
is
that was
also
pretty
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I
Which
really
is
did
just
like
like,
that.
yeah, it's like reading the comic, but like in motion, having someone like almost like an audiobook
Hmm.
esque thing, which was a really cool concept. But again, literally a shot for shot of the comic book. And then the show took a really big departure. The live action HBO show
Yeah, that
took a really big
I didn't see
departure,
any of that.
but that's because it didn't use any source material. It was a sequel to the comic, which had no source material to it. Um, so like that we kind of
Yikes.
throw aside. But with these two new animated movies, they were great. The animation was all right. There wasn't nothing like spectacular about it, in my
No,
opinion. But again, it was just a shot for shot recreation, which we shouldn't have a problem with. But my
that's four
spilled
now.
milk, what I'm crying over is that's 4 now. As I was watching part 2, I was just kind of like, well, I know what's about to happen in the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like I knew exactly
Well,
shot for
I
shot
haven't
what was
seen
going to
part two
happen.
yet, but when I was watching part one, I'm not like the biggest Watchmen fan in the world, but I saw the movie. I've talked to
Mhm.
you extensively about the graphic novel. So like I just kind of knew what was coming the whole time. Like there was nothing surprising, which
Yeah.
to me that says like it's almost like an insult to
They
the
took
source material because like nobody is able to take that and creatively spin it in a new way that's still
Well, yeah,
good.
they took no creative liberties. That's the
You
thing I think that gets me is that they took 0
in four
creative liberties
iterations,
with the
making
in 4
something comic
iterations.
accurate is lovely. That's like what us comic fans we want that. But like
Especially
four
because I've seen the argument made
is a
where
lot.
Watchmen, the live action movie, is the most faithful live action adaptation ever made, which I would tend to agree with in a lot of
Yeah, right up
ways.
to the end. You
Um,
know.
yeah, right up until the end,
But there
exactly.
is
But
some
like
like
as far as
perfect like shot for shot like panel
yeah,
shots. You know
like
what I mean?
I don't know if you remember the fight scene in the prison when he takes
Mm.
the vat of
Yeah, yeah,
boiling
yeah, yeah,
grease and
yeah, yeah,
splashes it
yeah.
on the dude, and there's the whole you guys think you guys got it wrong. You think I'm
You're
trapped
stuck in
in
here
here
with
with
me.
you.
Yeah,
You're stuck in here with me. Very impactful line.
yeah.
As he
Dope
said
as
it
fuck
the
too.
4th time, it had no
Yeah.
effect on me when
Oh,
I was
yeah.
watching it again.
Yeah.
It had no effect.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it was coming. I was like,
That's what kind of
I-
sucks. And then that kind of sucks.
yeah,
So yeah, Watchmen people, give us some new juicy content, would you? You
yeah,
guys, if you agree with
check out
that,
part 2 still. I still recommend you check it out. There's some really cool fight scenes. There's some really cool moments in it that weren't in the movie
yeah, I'm
that
definitely
were
gonna watch
only in
it.
the graphic
But like,
novel.
I already agree with you from part one because like,
Mhm.
just me, not a very avid fan. There was no surprising moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that's my spilled milk. That's my gripe for the day. I watched that this morning and enjoyed it, but was a little let
Yeah,
down
you
by
guys,
it.
let us know if you agree with that. Let us know if you disagree. Again, if you think that like this is what it should be, we should just get shot for shot reenactments of comic books, of graphic novels. Like that's what you like. Tell us why.
Which
Tell us like what you think
I do
is
like
good
it. I
about that.
just don't like it 4 times in a row.
Yeah, yeah, yo, I 100% get that. Like if, but hey,
Yeah.
now
You
again,
know,
moving on.
it's better than not getting it. But
Old
yeah,
Colin
Colin's
here.
got a few things he wants to say. Let's see if
We're just gonna do a
Colin
quick
wants to chime
question
in
with
before we let
Colin.
you go.
Yeah, quick question with Colin, and we're just gonna let y'all go. Let's see, Kyle. Oh, we did this one last week. I must have put that back in there. All right. Quick question from Colin. Kyle. Oh,
No.
all right.
78.
So this one is an animation hierarchy, Kyle. So I'm going to ask you a series of animated things, and you're going to tell me which you feel is better until we reach an impasse. Ready?
All
Let's
right.
start with, since we were just talking about Watchmen, let's start with Watchmen or the Tomorrowverse.
The Tomorrowverse.
All right. The
Because
Tomorrowverse.
going back to real quick, because the exact same thing we were just talking about, knew exactly what was coming in Watchmen. Tomorrowverse, big
Didn't.
surprises,
Yeah.
big changes,
Yeah.
things I did not expect.
Things that were different. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So the Tomorrowverse or let's do the Tomorrowverse or the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh, that's tough. Animation style wise, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I really enjoyed that very comic booky feel.
Yep.
Story wise, I'm still going with Tomorrowverse. You know,
Sticking with Tomorrowverse. All right.
just because the implications of that story going
Yeah. Hey.
forward
Yeah.
with
I love it.
the WB and the DCU and everything.
Yeah. Um, the Tomorrowverse or What If?
What if?
What If
Again,
or
I'm finding out a lot about myself right now. Again, what if? What if had even more surprises, kept me on the edge of my
yeah,
seat? I was
yeah.
really excited for new characters that were introduced in that. That's what I'm finding is that if something like catches me off guard, I think that's what gets me the most when it comes to this stuff.
All right.
But
I like that. I like that. All right. So What If or or the DCAMU.
we've reached an impasse. I can't answer that question. I don't know.
You got to
They're
pick
both
one.
so
I got
damn
more
good,
for you,
man.
bro.
Dude, they're both so good though. Ah, oh man, I'm about to give an answer and then I remember something from the other one and then I'm like, oh maybe that one. I'm about to give the answer. I remember something from the other one. Oh, like Justice League Dark puts and Apocalypse War, Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War put those so high for me.
Yep.
I'm
Same.
gonna go with the DCAMU.
All right. DCAMU or the Spider Verse movies that we've gotten.
I knew you were gonna find. I was waiting for Spider Verse. I'm literally waiting for it because I knew that was gonna Spider Verse. I'm gonna go Spider Verse. It's very
All right.
unique,
And
different.
then the last one that I can think of here that can go is Spider Verse or Arcane.
Arcane. Yeah, I could have told you that was gonna be the last one. Those let us know what you guys think about those two things. In our opinion, I know you agree with me with this. Arcane and Spider Verse, animation wise and story wise, are some of the peak content we've gotten in the
Ever.
last 10 years, ever, let alone the last 10 years. Like
Yeah.
It's
My race,
so
so
good.
like because I love Spider-Man so much, the race between Arcane and like the Spider-Verse movies is really neck and neck of who's first, who's second for me.
Hmm.
But just the quality of Arcane is just so good. I like
Yeah.
it's hard for even with my love for Spider-Man to top. Like maybe with the third Beyond Spider-Verse movie, like when it finishes, because Arcane has gotten to kind of finish. Even though we are
Hmm.
getting more, like they got to put out their whole thought, whereas the Spider-Verse movies still have something to go, right? So like maybe
Yeah.
that'll put it above, but like for now, I think I'm with us. I have to stick with Arcane as well.
Okay. Interesting, because I think for now, I honestly would actually go with Spider Verse, strictly because of the unique choices they made. I really did like the way they did in Arcane, the way they had um and effects and animations and stuff during the animation, like Jinx when
Yeah,
she's like shooting, like the
right.
explosions and stuff go off and all those really cool things. I think the choice that they made with Spider Punk and with Spider Noir, and the way that they've changed the frame rate of specific
The
characters,
animation,
because
hmm
one of them's a Spider Punk and never conforms to
yeah.
what
Not even
everyone
to
else
animation
does,
norms.
not even to animation norms, and one of them's from the 30s, and has and exists in a world where the 30s is like his
Yeah.
animation.
Also,
So like the
a
fact that
side
they
note
run on
here on
different frames is
Spider-Man
cool.
Noir, there I saw this dude that made this edit of all of the Spider-Men when they get like their glitch. It hurts. It physically hurts them.
Hmm.
And when it's Spider Noir, he literally doesn't even move. Like he just like glitches and is just
Yeah. Just keeps
like
going.
no
Yeah,
reaction
it's when
from
he's
it.
like kneeling down and just
Yeah,
keeps
like
going.
just no reaction from it. It's such aura, badassery.
Yeah,
Love it.
for
But yeah,
sure,
you
for
guys, if
sure.
you have liked this episode, please, please, please drop us a like, share, subscribe, please, please. That's at Host4Hire Podcast, Host4 with the number 4, Hire Podcast. We're trying to get to that 10K on YouTube. And if you guys could be so kind to help us out, we would be forever grateful to you. But to you guys who are watching, you heroes out there, we thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks.